today I will show you how to knit these cozy slippers from the 8th issue of Passap magazine. I wanted to make them a long time ago, but there are many hand manipulations involved, and since I can't crochet or hand sew, I was unable to knit them. Fortunately, with the help of my very good friend Kaleigh, we found a way to get around most of the hand manipulations. When you knit the slippers, they should look like this. Note that the stitches define the width and the rows define the length of the slipper. The knitting is very stretchy, so make a test swatch or knit the first slipper as a test piece. I will use a different number of stitches and rows from the one given in the magazine. Now let's begin. First, make sure the racking handle is in its lowest position. Raise 64 needles on the front bed, 32 to the left and 32 to the right side of the center. Now place the edge springs on the last working needles. Raise 64 needles on the back bed of the machine and place the edge springs on the last working ones. The needles must be arranged according to the needle rule. It should look like this. Set both locks to N and the stitch size to 3. Insert the orange strippers and take the first color yarn. Now knit one row. Set both locks to CX and increase the stitch size to 4. Now knit 2 rows. Set both locks to N and increase the stitch size to 5. Now knit one row to finish the cast on. Reset the row counter. Use the single prong tool and transfer the stitches on the back bed in a 1-to-1 division. Start by moving the leftmost stitch to the adjacent needle to the right. After transferring the stitches, make sure all needles are aligned and no empty needles are staying in working position. Now do the same on the front bed of the machine. Start by transferring the leftmost stitch to the adjacent needle to the right. Tell me, have you ever tried to knit these slippers? Make sure all empty needles are in working position. It should look like this. Now knit 6 rows without changing the settings on the locks. Reset the row counter and set both locks to EX. Move the lock to the color changer and take the second color yarn. You can put 7 shaped weight hangers at each end of the knitting. I will attach a small weight at each end. Now knit 110 rows to make the slipper. The more rows you knit, the wider the slipper will be. Reset the row counter and set both locks to N. Move the lock to the color changer and take the first color yarn again. Retread the machine if you haven't done this earlier. Now knit 6 rows with the first color yarn. Reset the row counter. Now you have to make the eyelets the same way as in the beginning. Use the single prong tool and transfer the stitches on the back bed in a 1-to-1 division. Start by moving the leftmost stitch to the adjacent needle to the right. After transferring the stitches, make sure all needles are aligned and no empty needles are staying in working position. Now do the same on the front bed of the machine. Start by transferring the leftmost stitch to the adjacent needle to the right. Please don't forget to support me by liking the video and leaving me a comment below. Make sure all empty needles are in working position. It should look like this. Now knit 2 rows. Reset the row counter and increase the stitch size by 2 numbers on each side of the lock. Now knit 1 row and lower the front bed. Remove the weights from the knitting and use the latch hook to make a zigzag chain stitch cast off. After you make the cast off, drop the knitting from the machine. This is what the knitted piece will look like. You can see the holes for the laces on both ends. I tried my best to figure out how to make them look exactly the same. At this stage you have to weave in the yarn tails. Then you can fold both sides of the slipper as shown in the video and thread the cord. For one slipper I need a total of 3.5 meters of cord. That's a very long piece. At first I thought that I would be able to knit it using the I-cord mill. But the cord I got from it was too thick for the slippers and I used the machine. I knitted the cord over 3 needles, 2 on the front bed and 1 on the back. The locks were set to CX. I haven't counted the rows, but I was measuring the knitted cord. As you can see, there is a pretty big difference between both cords. The thinner the cord, the better the slipper will look. This is what the slipper looks like after the cord is threaded. Now you have to sew the toe part. I can't give you good tips and suggestions, but I assume you will figure out that part. And this is what my slippers look like in the end. A pro tip from my friend Kaleigh. Since some yarns may be slippery, you may want to find a special stretchy paint to apply to the sew area. I couldn't find such paint where I live, so I can't show you, but it's a good thing to know. Another thing you can make is to attach tassels to the ends of the ties. I wanted to do this, but I forgot. That's all for today. Now have a nice day and see you in my next video.